Okay, so YouTube, man, you're supposed to like come on here all professional. This is one thing I really don't like about the YouTube platform is that you are supposed to be, coming correct, especially when you have a following and blah, 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 and good lighting. But it stops me from posting and discussing stuff that is really important right now in this world. So if you guys are okay with this kind of casual, I'm not going to put myself together look, I can post more lives. Because this is how I am most of the time. I work from home and I always feel inspired to post and talk later in the evening after I get done with my work. And since I work from home, I don't get myself together and put on makeup and all that stuff. So if you guys are okay with these kind of more casual lives, I will do them more. But I want to discuss something that has been on my heart, and that is the trend that is happening right now, the social contagion of girls identifying as boys in our high schools right now in America. And it's gone up by something like 4,000% in the last 30 years of girls identifying as boys in our high schools. And hello, everyone, casual live. If you've made it on, like I said, I will do these more if you guys are okay with casual lives where I am just kind of, coming on with no makeup and all that. Anyways, I want to talk about this trend that's happening amongst our girls because it's really worrying me. I want everyone, especially if you're a woman watching this, to remember what it was like to be in high school. Remember what it was like to feel insecure. I was really overweight in high school. I was almost 200 pounds and I'm only 5'5", so I was very overweight in high school. And I didn't know how to take very good care of myself. My mom did not teach me how to do makeup. It was also the 90s. The 90s wasn't like the coolest looking style, right? And I did not like myself. And I think that a lot of these girls that are identifying as boys and feeling like that they are feeling like they're boys are because they don't like the way they look as girls. So if you go on to, there's actually a gender affirming surgeon here in Florida, which I don't know why Ron DeSantis hasn't shut this person down, but this is a gender affirming surgeon in Florida. And you can go on their website and you can see that they specialize in double mastectomies on girls as young as 16 years old. And if you look at the girls that are getting these double mastectomies, they are all overweight. They're all, you could tell they don't look like the typical girl. And I think this is a problem because of social media. Imagine the pressure, because remember when we were in high school, at least for me, there was no social media. There was just the pretty girl that was on campus, and that was hard. But now you have to compare yourself to all of these girls on social media, and if you don't look like that, you don't look like the typical aesthetic of a girl, you start rejecting your own self, and then there's this attention that you get when you decide to join the rainbow cult, the trans trend. So what we're seeing is a social contagion of young girls identifying as boys. Now, I'm a former public school teacher of 15 years. I had one trans student when I was a teacher, and this was a boy that identified as a girl, and they went all out. Like, they really were trying to be a girl. Now we're finding a lot of these kids are kind of like wanting to do the in-between thing. They want to be the non-binary. They want to do because they don't want to fully commit, but they still want the attention that comes with it. They still want the identity that comes with it, because there's a lot of people there's a lot of attention and you get a culture with it. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like when you join that culture, it's like you found your family, right? And that's what's happening with these kids. These girls, they feel insecure, they feel alone, they feel unpopular, so they decide to identify as some sort of trans or non-binary, and they're able to get an identity through that. So when I was in high school, when I was a high school teacher, it was mainly boys that were, and this is actually statistically, you can prove this, it was mainly boys that were wanting to be girls, right? Now it's completely flipped. Now it's girls that are wanting to be boys. That's what's happening more. That's what's trending more right now in our high schools is girls that are coming out and saying they want to be boys. And like I said, these girls are finding a way to channel their insecurities into becoming trans because they don't feel beautiful as a woman. You go onto this gender clinic where they're doing these double mastectomies on these girls and they're all overweight. They all have like, you know, not the typical perfect Barbie face that is being pushed on girls right now. And yeah, they don't love themselves. And these monsters that are allowing these girls to reject their own bodies and then go and butcher their healthy bodies instead of teaching these girls how to take care of themselves. Because I don't doubt that if these girls lost a little bit of weight, put on some makeup, you know, maybe dressed right, put on some clothes that are flattering, they'd start feeling better about themselves. They'd start feeling better about themselves and not want to go through this process of turning into a boy. And you'll notice it because a lot of them decide to be non-binary. They'll start taking these hormones and they'll start going, maybe I don't want facial hair. I've seen this on TikTok. The girls will be like, yeah, I started taking hormones and I started sprouting a beard. And I was like, you know what? I don't really like that look. Yeah. I understand, chick. It looks crazy. And so they're like, I'm just going to microdose hormones because I don't really want that look. And it's like I said, these girls are being manipulated into turning that into a rejecting of their gender when really they just need to learn how to love themselves and also get through the awkward years of being a teenager. Not every teenager is going to be perfect and beautiful. Like I said, I was almost 200 pounds when I was a teenager. I definitely did not hit my peak in life until like now even, you know? So it's really upsetting to me what they are doing to our teenage girls. And what I think needs to happen is we need to go in and have a massive intervention and not allow them to affirm these identities. Not allow them, especially while they're still young. Your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old. And the fact that we are allowing them to hurt our children and give them hormones and hormone blockers and double mastectomies at 16 years old is absolutely crazy. What are we doing, America? What are we doing? What are we doing? So I just wanted to come on here and rant about this because I'm really sick of seeing it. It's especially happened this last 3 years with the pandemic. Everything was shut down. Everything was shut down. These kids were at home on TikTok all day long and getting these ideas implanted in their head. And if you go to TikTok right now, there are literal accounts with 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, where the whole thing is about gender identity and talking about their they-themness or their non-binariness or their transness. And that's all their account is about. That's all their account is about. It's just, we're living in such crazy times, but they're also getting a lot of attention for this. And again, teens are trying to find acceptance. They want to feel accepted in this culture right now. And everything is so hyper looks focused. I mean, I'm even coming on here with no makeup and it's still like hard for me because I feel like, oh, it's YouTube and you're supposed to come on here more correct or whatever. It's like, who cares? I think it's good for us to just be more real with people and to tell these girls that you don't need to look a certain way to feel like you're a woman. Okay? You don't need to look a certain way to be a woman. And that's the problem right now, these girls, and it's all about looks. So if you look in, they're always talking about their gender dysphoria. And when they look at themselves in their face and they don't like the way that what they see and all this stuff, it's like, okay, that's a problem because you know what? We all have things we're insecure about and we don't like. And these girls are getting just brainwashed into thinking now that they need to start identifying as a male, and it's just going to give them a horrible life because here's the thing about it. There's very few trans people that really pull it off. I don't care if you're the most liberal, accepting person out there when it comes to it. You know deep down that person is not a real whatever. You know, you can acknowledge it or whatever, but you're going to see it's. I just saw someone yesterday, a man that was dressed as a woman and had on a wig and had on the full look. And it's just like, they stand out like you can't help but look at them because you're like, wow, that's not a woman, right? But even though they want them so bad to be acknowledged as real women, okay, sure, the liberals can tell them that they are. But the thing is, we all know deep down inside, they're not. Like there's something like, you can do all the surgery in the world. Like Dylan Mulvaney has the best surgeon to make his face look more like a woman. And guess what? He still looks like a man. But anyways, I'm just And I also think that we need to start making it more acceptable for young women and young men, like a young woman, to be male presenting. Like if they want to dress like a dude and act like a dude, cool. Like if that's what you want to do, cool. If you're a man and you want to, be more feminine and look more feminine, cool. But you don't have to go and do all these crazy things so that people can acknowledge you as a real opposite sex of what you were born as. So anyways, I just wanted to come on here and do this quick rant about that. I probably going to get a strike for this because it's crazy. Social media is crazy. But I think that we need to make sure that we need to be protecting our children. We need to be protecting our children, and we need to be standing up for them right now and not acknowledging this social contagion to be trans, especially for our kids. And it is harmful to them. It's hurting them. We have a mental health crisis amongst our kids in this country right now, a mental health crisis. In fact, since the 60s, suicide rates amongst teens has tripled. And now it's going even further. It's even higher this last 2.5 years since the pandemic. And it's even higher amongst kids that are into all of this LGBTQ stuff. And it's not because they're not accepted or bullied. That's not the reason why they're committing suicide. That's not. I've worked on these high school campuses, and those kids are actually put on a pedestal and treated with like kid gloves. Okay? They're treated so like, it's actually fat kids, like kids that are just like, they're probably the most bullied. I mean, that just kind of happens in general in high school. But these kids that are the LGBTQ, they are put on a pedestal and treated with kid gloves. It's not because of that. It's not the reason why they're committing suicide. It's not because of bullying, or it's not because they're not accepted. It's because they don't love themselves. And it's because they are going through an identity crisis, and they need to know that they are beautiful just the way they are and the way that God made them. And to be their best selves. And like I said, a lot of these girls, they want to be trans because they don't look like the typical Instagram cute girl aesthetic that we're seeing all over, social media right now. When's the last time you saw a trans girl that is super cute deciding to be a dude? They're usually pretty, frumpy looking, because they don't fit what a woman is supposed to look like in our super hyper looks focused society. So they decide that they would look better as a man. And that's what I'm seeing is happening to our girls. And it makes me really sad because I think about when I was in high school and how I used to hate myself. And I don't think I would have decided to be a man. Like that's not something I would have done. I'm wiser than that, even as a high schooler. But I do think about girls that were like me, that weren't necessarily the prettiest, that had no boys looking at them, that were, feeling like they were just lame and ugly. And now that's being channeled into, you could be a dude and get a bunch of attention and have people think you're good looking, and you could get a lot of attention for that. And it's really sad to me. So anyways, pray for our young women. Thank you so much for coming on and watching this casual live. And if this is okay with you guys, I'll keep doing this because this is how I usually am. I know YouTube people are more polished and stuff, but it's just not who I am. And I'm just never going to be there. So God bless you guys. And thank you so much for watching this. Please pray for our girls in America. See you next time.